Hi. The fret installation is done. They're all in. The ends are trimmed to size. The ends have been rounded off and filed too. Probably still need to go over that with a bit of micro mesh later on just to get it nice and smooth on the side. But right now we are concentrating on the tops here. I did a pretty good job. Now that the guitar is in the jig like this and the neck is nice and straight, the fret tops are pretty much straight too. I'm not expecting it to be perfect straight from the get-go. Never gonna be. But it looks as though I'm not gonna have to do a whole lot of leveling, which is fabulous. And it's a testament to my awesomeness, I have to say. So without further ado, now that I've set the guitar up in the neck jiggery-doo, now it's time for the leveling. And then there's the filing, quite a bit of filing. Got to round those edges off after you level the frets. I'm using a diamond coated, industrial diamond coated, I forget what it's called. It's a fret rounding file. And for certain frets, it really does the trick. It is the business. It just sort of shaves the corners off without necessarily, if you do it right, without taking the top off. So you've got your sort of trapezoidal fret shape after you level it, and now you've got, you know, a slightly more rounded fret. It's not quite round as such just yet, but we're just shaping at the moment. Just shaping, lots of shaping. Oh, and then there's the sanding. Lots and lots and lots of sanding. Starting off with a fairly rough grade. I like to go down to 240 grit. I think some people say, you know, start with 320, but I find that 240 really starts to attacks a lot of the file marks, because we've just been, you know, we've been leveling and filing. We've basically defaced the frets. I mean, we've done terrible desecrations to them to get them all nice and even with each other. And so now we've got to pick up the pieces, as it were, with lots and lots of sanding. I've got the rough stuff at the moment, just really trying to get rid of the file marks. That's the first thing. And if you play your cards right, and you do it with aplomb at this early stage, you can save yourself a lot of bother down the line. You're really cool. You really know how to make a guy feel good. Oh, that's wonderful. How much do I owe you? What do you mean I'm under arrest? What? Right, so here I am with some 4-0 steel wool. And this is the very last stage of the sanding and the polishing. What did I do? What did I do to get here? Well, I started off with 240 grit paper, and then I went to 320, and then I went to 400, and then I went to 600, and then I went to 800, and in between 800 and 1000 I used this this meshy stuff. Or was that between 1000 and 1200? I can't remember. It's this stuff that's not sandpaper, it's an abrasive. It's made by, it's some synthetic something or other, I forget its name. So yeah, then after 1200 I went to 2000, and when I got to 2000, I must have dozed off a little bit. But then I used some 0 steel wool, and then now you find me using the 4-0 steel wool. And I believe that's the finest steel wool that money can buy. Of course, I don't mean in terms of quality, I just mean in terms of roughness or smoothness or whatevs. So, this is exciting. This is exciting. This is the last of the sort of part of the refret, really. Unless maybe I'll go micro mesh along the sides here once I get all this tape off, just to give the frets the very smoothest of edges. But yeah, we are nearly done. We've still got to put the nut back on, and after that,
there's nothing really left but to oil the board and put on some strings.
And voila, look at it. It's looking good. It's looking pretty good. What a flyby. So good. Excellent. I'm quite pleased with that. Stringing the thing. Stringing it is its own little thing. And some people might say it's a little bit complicated. I don't know. I'm going to go into more detail on this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to string the easy one first. Now, when I say the easy one, it's because the 12-string Rick, the tuners are such that you have 6 that are kind of normal, if you're used to looking at a like a Gibson sort of a headstock, you know, the posts and the fenders to the posts going straight up. And then you have 6 that are kind of like a Spanish classical style. So I'm going to do the normal one first here. I've got my G, in this case it's the high G, which is a 9-gauge string. Stringing it through the bridge, through the little cover there, and I'm hooking it into the back of the tail piece, making sure that it's sitting in the saddle, and then I'm putting it through the nut slot, winding it a few times around the post, threading the string through the post, grabbing it, giving it a little bit of a tighten, keep some tension on it, like so, and then using my string winder to get the rest of it done. Now that is pretty straightforward, nothing to complain about there. But doing the other pair on this is going to be a bit strange. Now, the interesting thing about this guitar, I find, is the way it is strung. If you're standing, you're playing, you're looking at it, the very first string you hit with a downstroke like this is going to be the bass E. Normally, or what I think might be the normal standard for 12 strings, is you have that treble E first. Not your little thin one, but you know, you got your pairs, right? So you've got your higher octave E first. But on this one, the nut is cut so that the bass string is the first one you hit. That's the way I kind of like it, but I feel like that's maybe not standard. So possibly, maybe there's like a North American standard and a European standard, or maybe there is no standard at all and we all just live a dream, right? Okay, so I am now going to shift to doing the slightly more difficult one, and I've developed a bit of a trick here that will help me. Because God almighty, do we all know I need some help. So here I go. This is my my 20 wound G string, and I'm going underneath the little bridge plate thingy here. I could take that off if I really wanted to, but this isn't a big pain. And then I get it, I make sure that it sits in behind there, right underneath, and then I keep tension on it. Now I'm gonna keep tension on it by using a capo, whatever you want to call it. I'm holding on to the string here. I've got it in the slot. And I put a little bit of capo on there, and that means that I can let go of it, and the string stays where it needs to. It's staying in the tailpiece because it can fall out if you just let it go. So now I decide I'm going to cut a bit of the string off first before I put it in there. I'm going to go, I'm going to mark where the string sits right over that post, and I'm going to give it an inch and a half maybe, and I will snip it from there. I will thread it through the hole of the post a little bit, and then I will twist. This could be a monumental pain in the butt, so forgive the awkwardness, but that's it. Just, you know, holding on to it and stringing that fella right there like that. And it does take okay. It wraps itself around the post easily enough. There's plenty to work with there to keep it on. And before too long, it's done. Hurrah! Not to tune yet, but we'll get to that. And that is how you do that. And there you have it. For the purposes of the video, there you have it.
What I haven't done yet is cut the nut slots down. I haven't given it a final setup. Why haven't I given it a final setup? Because we'd be here forever. So we're got to the point now where it's a little high at the nut. But when I clamp it down and sort of fake my correct nut slot height and set my bridge and test it all the way up along the fretboard with all the strings, it's all good. So I've accomplished something here. Something magical, something fantastic, something run-of-the-mill, something scientific, something artistic, I don't know. But we took a Rick 12 string, we stripped the shit out of the neck, the fretboard I should say, and we put it all back together to create a mighty fine instrument, I suppose. And I shall go away and toot my horn. Thank you very much. This is R&R Workshop. Don't subscribe, don't like, don't comment. I hate it all.
Dirty bastard.